Welcome to the DIY Writer Show with the mild-mannered, slightly heroic host, Jeff Bacon.
This is Jeff Bacon with the DIY Writer Podcast, and today we have Alex Zarate, not to be confused with karate. Just kidding. That wasn't a real good pronunciation of your name, but I did butcher it a little bit. He's got some books out there that you kids need to go out there and read. Seriously, they look fantastic. So the latest one is Reflections in the Darkness, which is Connections Book 2, which is out on Kindle as of December, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And you've got quite a few other books out there. So let's have a chat about your books, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
That's a great answer. All right. Tell me about your books, man.
The book's the second series is called Connections. It started with Connections in Crimson, and this one is Reflections in Darkness. Okay. The first series was Linked, Ripples of Mind, and Echoes of Innocence. And that one pretty much depicts the main character and kind of like their childhood. He starts off when he's 8 years old. He finds a kitten that gives him abilities to see thoughts and to teleport. Oh. And then this kind of brings in a kind of like a killer that wants to have this cat and this ability. So he's like killing anybody in his way to try to get to this cat. And he hunts down the little boy. And that's the first book. So from that point on, it's like it's a constant kind of an adventure for this kid to learn and grow and to get used to these abilities and kind of like protect his family, protect his friends, face off against people. And it's like it's a power that he uses, but he does not let anyone know about. Okay. So it's like he doesn't hear thoughts, he sees them. So whenever somebody is thinking something, he can kind of discern what they're thinking by the images he sees. And that's also how he communicates with the cat. It's not verbal communication, it's just images that they're sharing back and forth. So that kind of does away with the whole language barrier that I didn't want to deal with. How do cats think? How do cats, speak? And it's like, no, just these are the images he's portraying, so that's how they understand each other. The first series was him as a child. This one is him as a young adult teenager, just as he's getting ready to get out of high school. So okay. It's more adult, more responsibility, more people around. And in this latest book, he discovers that he's not the only person who's out there with these abilities. 3 new people come into his town, his little township, and they're actually running away from a 4th. And it's like they all have the same ability he does, and this 4th person has pretty much been driven insane by these abilities, and he's decided he should be the only one who can do this. Oh. And now they're coming to him for help, or they're coming for help in his town, and he realizes that, okay, they're going to a little extreme, and they're kind of breaking all the rules that he's been taught to follow his whole life. Protect other people and kind of help where he can. And here they're like, okay, we need help. We don't care what we have to do to get this help, but we're going to get it. And he kind of sees that, like, wait a minute, we're here to help people. What the hell are you doing, going after other people to try to help yourself? That's not the way we work this. So he realizes, okay, they're not just looking for help. They're looking for help from this crazed person who can do the same thing they can do. How do you face off against someone who can, read thoughts and teleport, who wants to kill you? So that's where the whole book, the latest book, goes into. So
do they all have cats, or they have different animals?
No, they all have cats. The cats came from the same litter, and they all kind of scattered from the first book. The first book is a little bit dark because it, has a crazed person who kills the owner of the mother cat, and then kills the mother cat itself, and the kittens, they're like, whoa, wrapped up and tossed into a lake somewhere. But because they have these abilities, they teleport out of there. So they scatter throughout the world, and they find all these people to share their abilities with.
So you broke the cardinal rule. Cool. You killed a pet.
Oh, I did. Oh, it was a very dark beginning, and I was like, okay, I have to do something that you have to understand why these cats went to separate ways. They were all together. They were all in one place. And I was like, okay, they're their owner's dead, their mother's dead, and this crazy person wants to kill them. So the only thing they can do is get out and hope that they make it. And it's not until this book that you realize, okay, they all did make it, and they found other people to connect to and share their gifts with.
Hmm.
And they all come together, and it's like, okay, one of the people who got connected to the cat and got the gifts went crazy.
So how many reviews have you had that say, "Oh my God, you killed the cat"?
I had a person contact me asking me about that. I was like, well, it had to be, you had to really hate this person who did this, and I wanted you to understand that the
They're
person is
like,
like,
I do now.
like
Yeah.
he's like an abusive, crazy person. He kills his, this woman who was the cat owner, and then he goes to kill the cat. Like he's just this crazy person who was out there. And I was like, I wanted you not to like this person very, very much. So the only way to do that is to show you, okay, he's someone you do not miss when he gets killed later. It's like he's gonna get killed. You will be happy for that he's out of this world because he should not have been there in the first place. So when that happened, it's like, okay, good. I came around full circle. He's gone. The kittens are alive. The little boy has found this pet, and now they're together. Now they're on their adventure.
Yeah,
So
my
things.
problem is if I get something like that, I'd be like, okay, book 3, kicking puppies.
It's kind of funny. The first book also introduces a dog, a Saint Bernard, that's a street dog, and he's like growling and scaring everybody in the neighborhood, and he ends up being one of the heroes at the end because he actually goes after this killer who's trying to take the kitten and the boy,
Oh,
and it's like this dog who's just this big thing everyone's afraid of. When this killer is going after the little boy, the dog actually it kind of snaps to himself, and he's like, oh wait, I remember being a puppy and I was protecting my owner, and
mhm.
now here is a young boy is being attacked by this person, and his instinct kicks in, and he becomes like part of the reason that the boy survives. So
Oh, cool.
it's kind of a little cool switch, redemptive quality for even a scary street dog.
Yeah. No, that's kind of cool. That is really cool, actually. So then, as you progress in this, how many more books you got in you on, as far as this series goes?
But for this series, I want to do one more. Every book I try to keep it as self-contained as possible, so you can pick up any of them, and the stories I give you enough of a recap and explanation as to why they're there,
Okay.
and then I continue the story and I give it a decent resolution. The next one is gonna almost be its own little standalone, because this one really it was a challenge because I had so many characters, so many events happening, so many sub stories taking place. It was a big challenge just to wrap everything up at the end. The
Yeah.
next one's going to be a lot easier because it's going to be just the main character and a friend of his, and they're going to be the ones going through the whole situation with his cat,
Sure.
and it'll be a resolution. It'll kind of touch on the other books a little bit, but it'll bring him to the end because it's going to be his, the end of his young teenage life and going into adulthood.
Hmm.
That will be how I wrap it up. I have another series in mind, which will have to be in years from now. So I'm gonna leave it alone for a while because it's gonna be the beginning was his childhood. This is his young adult years. Then the last one will be his his adult to the end of his life. So I
No.
want that to be further out there to wrap up his entire lifetime, and when he's an adult, when he's settled down, or what type of life he's going to have, and just kind of wrap it up in that way. But I want to leave that be. I have too many other books to write, and this has been, the one I've been really fighting to get wrapped up.
Sure.
So the next book will be the last one for the series.
Okay. So what else you plan? I mean, what are your plans for 2021? What you got? What you got cooking besides
For
this next book?
2021, the next book I'm going to have hopefully by the end of hopefully by the middle of the year. The next book I want to get out is a sci-fi book that's going to be called Drake's Orb,
Okay.
and I'm going to have that as a series as well. And it's something I've had bouncing around for a while. I actually wrote a book back in 98, 99 called The Orb, and it's basically what this book will be, except it was a kind of like a first draft. And I realized, okay, there's a lot more to tell about this story, and it actually has more happening afterwards. So I was like, I need to do something more with this. It was the first book I did. I didn't really know how to tell a story, so I threw a lot of stuff into it, but I didn't finalize what I wanted to say with the story. And it's just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna finish this book, put it out there, and then continue it and make it its own little standalone series. So I got 3 books of that. I have 2 other series I want to put together, including a kind of like a merge between sci-fi and fantasy.
I was afraid you're going to say romance there for a minute. I'm like, okay, no.
Yeah, I got enough little relationships here and there in these stories. I don't need to play with romance.
Oh, okay.
I steer clear from all that as much as I can. I was like, no, I want to tell the story. I don't want, to show a budding relationship between one person and another. And okay, he hates her, she hates him, and at the end, oh, now they love each other. No, that's that's fine. Give me some explosions and some gun wielding maniacs, and I have something to work with.
Yeah. After the Christmas season and watching, being forced to watch several Hallmark movies, I've had just about enough of the, romance stuff. I get so, oh, we should watch this. Okay, great. So she comes home from New York City, finds a small town, finds the guy that she dated in high school, has some moral dilemma. And then she comes back to the hometown and says, I'm staying. And then they live happily ever after. Yeah, let's watch that again. Okay, yeah, it's different actors, but yeah, let's watch that again. And somebody out there is going to be saying, lay off the romance, lay off the Hallmark. I love it. Great. I'm glad you do. I don't.
Oh, it's a best-selling genre out there.
I know it is. And I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous that you guys all write the same damn story no, just kidding. They don't. Anyway, from a male's perspective, romance is a little tough to swallow. Anyway. So what else you got going on, man?
Just pretty much anything and everything. I'm also someone who likes to dabble in photography. I like doing my own book covers, so I'm always playing with graphics. I've been doing a podcast and trying to work with video. I've started playing around with doing little video clips, trying to post them to TikTok.
Yeah.
But I do video clips. I'm not I don't dance in front of anything. I don't play the music. I'm just like, okay, here's a little clip of something I like, just few words, few phrases popping up, and just something to emphasize what I'm trying to say, and that's about it. I'm trying to post something like every Friday now, and that's just a lot of talk about TikTok. I'm like, okay, well, I'll post a couple things on there, see how it works, but yeah, it's not going to be me.
Man, I tell you what, TikTok is awesome, isn't it? Yeah, I get a kick out of everybody that's been doing TikTok, and it's all the same thing. So they have their little cards that they pop up, or their little whatever, and their mouth or lip syncing, not mouthing, lip syncing to a song. And for those of you not watching the video, I'm pointing at different things and saying, "Oh, look at this." I don't know. I don't really get into it. I've watched some of the redneck rants on there, which are kind of funny. But on the other hand, it's like, well, who the hell cares what you think? Just whatever,
That makes me think of America's Funniest Videos from back in the day. I was like,
something like that. Yeah, it just,
all these clips are disappearing, and it's like, yeah, it's fun, it's a little entertaining, but you can only do so much before you're like, okay, I want to see something that's not this now.
Well, it's just that it's so not creative after you copy everybody else's shit. And I don't know, I get bored with that. I guess I can't figure out why people watch cat videos on YouTube. I mean, how do you have that much time during the day to actually watch that?
Yeah, I think that's where all that started. Is cat videos were the thing for so long.
Yeah,
and then it evolved into, let's see how else we can do these zany things.
You know, and I shouldn't be so fickle on it, because honestly, if I thought about it and I could do something that was original and kind of funny, I would probably do a TikTok video. I don't have the time. I or the energy to put into it. I mean, you know, I don't know. It just seemed like it'd be almost too much. And then, you know, you see those guys that don't do any, I mean, that they don't put any thought into it at all. And it's not really funny. And it's just the dumbest damn thing you ever saw. But there's on YouTube, somebody was passing around on Facebook, and it's these two chicks that are like, you know, completely just Southern, you know, white trash, you know, whatever. And they do these weird scripts where they're trying to find, you know, one of the gal's boyfriends, and, you know, you're going to be Billy Ray, you're going to be sorry when we find you, you know, and it's just like, oh God, you know, and they have a huge following, and they have a huge amount of, you know, watches and likes and everything else. And I'm like, it's the same thing. They've got 50 episodes of the same damn thing. I don't get it. You know, so I mean, being an author, I mean, if you release the book, the same book, just change the cover on it, you know, every month for 2 years, would anybody get pissed off? I mean, you know, just change the genre and change the cover, you know, maybe change the title, but make it exactly the same book. I mean, that would be kind of like what I think YouTube and TikTok are, you know. Of course, you know, somebody's gonna be listening. You're an idiot. Yeah, I am. I'm okay with that. But so you also do sculpting and photography, and I mean, you are quite the creative guy. So let's get into that. You actually sculpt?
Yeah, I have sculpted quite a few things. I've played around. I remember
Have,
when I first started, you know,
have you done
college.
a bust?
I did a kind of like a demonic monster at one point. It was about the
Yeah.
it was from a bust, and it like came up from this muscular shoulder up to this little, you know, crocodile monster's head with teeth everywhere. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of like that. That looks really, really nice. Huh? Yeah, I steered away from the norm when I went in there. Just like I did pottery for a while, and everyone was working. You know, okay, let's make an ashtray, let's make a bowl, let's make a cup, and you know, I'm like, you know, making these oddly shaped creations that have like tentacles and
Mhm.
fingers and you know, eyeballs in different places, and it was just, I was having fun with it, and I was just trying to see how far I could extend it. Let's see. Actually, I have
Yeah, grab something, show us, man. Keep on
here's
saying
one of the
man for
last
some
things I
reason.
have is a pyramid with different faces on each one.
I like that. Dude, that's
So
awesome.
this is one of the last things I have from the days that I was doing sculpture all the time. You know, so it was a lot of fun. As you can see, I did enjoy doing all the different
Now,
caricatures.
one side looks like it's from Ape Mountain. The other side looks like it's the you know, the skull of Grayskull from He-Man. And then you got Buddha, and then yeah, there's Grayskull. And then I'm not even sure what I'd call that one. It's you know, sleeping fat guy. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, so yeah,
That's
I have
kind of gothic. I like it.
yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I used to, you know, try to see how I could stretch the requirements that were in there when I was in college. And that was one of the best things when you were doing you know, sculpture courses or something. All the tools are there. You know,
Yeah.
once you get out of school and everything, okay, you don't have a fire and kiln, you don't have these huge, you know, studio areas to be working with and making these gigantic things. So you end up having to leave it behind, but it's still there in your head. You can still work with it if you want to.
Yeah, in
It's,
college you don't realize that crap costs a lot of money.
oh yeah,
I
yeah.
think
So
I'll
I had
get
a
a
lot of fun
kiln.
with that.
Oh wait, no.
Yeah, especially places like California, like, you know, they're charging you through the nose for every, you know, watt of electricity that you got. Every little
Yeah.
kilowatt is just like, you know, top dollar for California. Like, yeah, you're not gonna have a kiln that, you know, you got to heat something up to, you know, a couple thousand degrees to melt the glaze and melt the all the clay to make it, you know, into like glass consistency, and then bring it out. No, That's like 2 months of electricity for a regular household, just in one little
Well,
firing
just
of
do solar or wind. Wind would work.
There was a neat little firing technique they had back then, called pit firing, where you just basically put like a little stack of like firewood and something, and put your objects inside of it, cover it with sawdust, and then just you know turn it
Light on
on.
fire.
Yeah, cover it up, and it kind of like turn it into its own little oven. So the temperature just shoots up, gets really hot, and like an hour later, you take it out, everything's ash. You bring it out, and it works out. The only thing is, you have to be very careful, just because it's like putting in a glass and heating it up very fast and cooling it down again. You have a very strong risk of your clay piece. It's like, oh, this is a great sculpture, it's a masterpiece, and you open it up, and oh yeah, it exploded.
Ah, yeah,
So
that'd be
yeah,
bad.
there's a little balance you had to work with on those things. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
where are you at in California? Are you northern
San
or
San Diego.
San Diego? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can't really open up fires in California anymore, can you?
Oh no, yeah, they're always having worries about fires here and there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a constant thing here.
Yeah. You do your little pit fire and then you burn down half of California. That's probably a bad thing.
Yeah, but the piece came out so wonderful. Just check that
Yeah.
out.
You don't understand. It's all for art. Oh, no. We understand. Yeah. Here's your bill.
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. Here's your nice little cell. Just enjoy it behind bars and
Uh-huh.
say hi to your friend Bubba.
Well, it's been interesting to watch from across the nation. I mean, just how horrific California has been beaten quite well. I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's just been kind of had the crap kicked out of it for the last 4 or 5 years.
yeah.
I
That's been a
mean,
constant.
yeah, and this COVID stuff's not really helping y'all either.
No,
And
no. Everyone's getting locked down, and one of the fortunate ones, since I'm a pretty much administrator, I can work from home. Unlike a lot of people, it's like, oh yeah, you work in the food industry, you work in a restaurant, or you work in. It's like, okay, yeah, you're shut down. You can't go to
oh,
work.
if you're in the restaurant industry, I don't know how. If you own a restaurant, in a lot of these states, I don't know how you come back.
Yeah,
You
uh,
know,
most of those places are just barely hanging on as it is, and then okay, now you're shutting down for a year.
yeah,
That's just
we've got
unbelievable.
where I'm at. We've got franchises closing down because they just, sorry, we can't do this anymore. We've got
Oh yeah,
restaurants that were slated to open up and they never did open up, and it's like, wow, totally
yeah,
remodeled the building or built the building and everything's ready to go. And hey, we're opening up on, no, never mind. We're locked down. Okay. And almost a year later, they're still not open. It's like, yeah, I don't think they're opening, you know?
no, yeah. After a while, you just there's a point where you just can't return from it. The expenses of opening will be more than you can afford anymore.
Yeah. There's this Asian buffet. It's a world buffet or something like that, where I'm at. And we always wondered how they stayed open. I mean, literally
Mhm.
when times are good. COVID finally took that place out, and they're like closed for good. And it's like, um, I mean, they probably were just barely making it the way it was, and then this happened, and
Yeah,
you know, um, it's been horrible. We're not locked down like you are in California, though. From what I understand, you guys are like militarily locked down.
yeah. It's gotten crazy. Even the regular people that would normally be agreeable to it are already starting to say, wait a minute, you've gone too far here. You're
Yeah.
kind of restricting people from just going outside and taking walks. That's being insane. You're going beyond the norm of what should be tolerated for any kind of lockdown.
Yeah.
This isn't China. Come on,
Well, you never know. It
not
might
yet.
be.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah. San Diego, though. San Diego's a beautiful place to live if you can
Hmm.
go outside.
Yeah, Yeah, I get to look out the window and say, "Oh, look, it was a nice day. Let me go back inside now."
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I really did appreciate you complaining about how cold it is over there. I mean, 50,
Oh yeah,
60 degrees. Yeah.
yeah. I
Whew.
can't wear shorts now. Ooh,
Oh, man.
the humanity.
That's, I feel for you. I think everybody here feels for you right now, especially if you're in the north.
Yeah, those winter storms. I remember I lived in Michigan for a while too. That was I seen a couple of whiteouts, and I kept thinking, ooh. Every year I was there, I kept thinking, this is the last year I'm going to be here. And then the
Well,
last year I was actually there, I was like, I really should have taken more pictures while I was up here because it was a very beautiful, scenery. After the day after it snowed, it's like, wow, everything just looks wonderful out here. Then I come to California, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to see any more snow again.
yeah.
Those
Yeah,
days are
you might.
behind me.
You might. I always like Palm Springs because Palm
Mhm.
Springs, it's nice and hot in the valley. And then you can go up and take the tram up into the mountains, and there you can have a snowball fight. It was fun, you know,
Mhm.
but it was probably my best day there, going up into the mountains and throwing snowballs at people, just because it was 120 degrees in the valley, and it was 30 degrees up on that mountaintop. But in taking that tram up and seeing everything as you went up, it was amazing. But
Yeah.
so you were born in Texas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. San Antonio.
And then you moved to Michigan and then went to California. So, if you're going to follow everybody else from California, you're going back to Texas.
Uh, that's actually been in my head for a while. I've been thinking, it's like, wow, well, California is locked down. Jobs are going to disappear like crazy in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm keeping an eye on Texas because they're still growing. They still
Yep.
got more jobs, more expansion. I'm just okay. That could be the place to be
Yeah.
again.
Well, I don't know. I just, when you start seeing restaurants closing, that affects the economy from the bottom up. Realistically, if those people that are waitressing and cooking in these restaurants don't have any money and they can't find any jobs because that industry is, been, cut in half or more, that's going to trickle up. And
Yeah.
that is going to work its way up the food chain to where, then they don't have money to buy products. They don't have money to do this. And then your retail stores are going to go out. And then everybody that supports the retail stores are going to have less business. And it's going to suck.
Oh yeah.
It's going to suck. But, I'm hoping that I'm in Wisconsin, and we've only had the one lockdown, and I'm hoping that we don't see another one, because I think if we see another one, this area is done.
Mm.
I really think it is. And if they go as they've been kind of talking about it, and if they go as bad as they say they're going to, it's just like, you're going to shoot the economy.
Mm-hmm.
You really are. Yeah, it might be time to.
We got to make sure that the cure is not worse than the disease itself, because
Well, I think everybody's relying on this vaccine to come out, and that's going to save
yeah.
us. And it's like,
Well, everything I keep hearing about the vaccine is that, okay, you take the vaccine, but you still have to lock down, you still have to wear a mask, you still have to worry about getting it. I'm like, well, then what good is a vaccine? Are you going to actually protect people, or are you just giving them something to placate them while you keep them locked down and keep everything shut down? Like, you need to have some kind of relief. Just say, okay, the vaccine's not ready. Let's stay the way we are until it is. Or say we have a vaccine, now we can go open up and everything be fine.
see, I think the vaccine that they have is good for the original version of COVID, but now you hear about these morphings and these mutations, and it might not work so well for that. So that's gonna be
Yeah.
tough. It's gonna be tough. It's
They
probably going to
gotta,
end up being like the flu shot, where, it works for, 60, 70% of what's out there. And then, the new stuff, it doesn't, it might not. I don't know.
but they have to start thinking about, okay, is it worth, destroying the economy, destroying the country, or do you want to tell people, okay, it's a risk, but you have to, you know, lock down in your own way, protect yourself in your own way, but we're going to have to allow people to open because there's just no way, we can have the entire country shut down for a couple of years or more. I mean, you'll just, there won't be any more businesses left open at that point.
Mm-mm.
It'll just be the big companies will be open, and every small business will disappear because there won't be any way that they can.
Well, and that's going to
exist.
affect the big companies because they aren't going to be able to, I mean, they're all cogs in the same machine. So, I mean, it's going to be rough.
Yeah.
It's going to be rough. Especially like for us in the book business, we rely on people to have some extra income to buy books,
Mhm.
And if they don't, if it's the choice between rice and beans and in a book, they're probably going to be doing the rice and beans,
Mhm. As long as people have money and they have time, they'll look for ways to fill that time, whether it's games or books or, movies or anything like that. You take away any kind of, way for people to make a living, and okay, now the only thing they're going to be concerned with is, how do we pay our bills? How do we get food on the table?
survive. Yeah.
You have to survive through it all. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's all connected. We need to
Yeah.
take care of everybody, or everyone's going to be hurting.
They are. There is no good answer to this. I just, it's a tough situation. And I think it really, I think it's going to really end up being that, there's going to be a vaccine. A lot of people are going to take it. And then there's going to be another vaccine and probably another one. And it's going to be kind of like the flu. I see this thing morphing, but I don't know.
Yeah, I just think it'll be like the flu vaccine that people take every year.
Yeah.
It's just going to be, okay, this is a new strain, vaccine that we're going to have every year. So it's going to be the same thing, but we need to have a process in place so that people won't be, forced to just stay indoors, because we have to be able to survive.
The nice thing is that the SARS virus at its root is nothing new. I mean, they know what this virus is. Here's a new strain of it, but yeah, I get, I mean, that's why they're able to come out with a vaccine that's got some sort of effectiveness, fairly quickly, probably quicker than they would have if it was a brand new virus. But, so, I mean, there's some bright side to it, and that's, what they modified to work with Corona. So, or COVID. So I mean, I have some hope that it's going to lighten things up a little bit, but on the other hand, I know a lot of people that were, I know quite a few people that got really sick. I know quite a few people that didn't get sick, and it's just kind of all over the boards, but they've all been infected, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really hopeful that this vaccine kind of lightens everything up. I really am, because I just really think that the economy in general is going to really suffer if they have to lock down again for another couple months.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a new year, and we're kind of expecting it to get better, but like you said, now they're talking about, locking down again. So
the interesting thing of this is, as far as books go and writing, it'll be really interesting to see how quickly you see masks being in literature, or how some of these newer urban fantasy type things, how they're going to incorporate that into the world, or if they're just going to ignore it. I have some things about vaccines in one of my books I haven't released yet, and I purposely held off on it because it's like, oh, it's going to give me some crap. But I mean, it's the only delivery mechanism for what I wanted to do that worked, and so you kind of have to, do I want to pick on vaccines or not? It's kind of like
me,
killing cats.
I'm steering clear of the whole thing, because when you're writing a story and it's like, okay, someone gives a sideways glance or has a smirk or something, like it would be near impossible to do that if everyone is wearing a mask in your story. So I'm just like, no, I'm not even going to touch that. As far as I'm concerned, my worlds that I'm creating are in a place where never locked down, never had to wear masks, never had to worry about this.
No COVID.
Yeah, there's no such thing as COVID. I don't know, Corona, and maybe it's something that they're drinking at the time, but that's about it. it's not going into any kind of a situation. You know, I'm leaving it open as a, you know, these are little glimpses into the adventures that happen with these characters, but I'm not going to touch anything like that. It's just, it would, I think that would detract too much from, you know, the story itself. It's like, okay, this story, this adventure happens, and everyone walking down the street is wearing a mask, and just like, that doesn't have anything to do with the story. That's more like you're trying to set a place and a set of a time, and it obstructs any expressions that you would want to show in the characters. You know, if everything is just being done through the eyes, then you're going to run out of things to do after a while. It's just going to be like, okay, they look at them, you know, their eyes are you know, intense, or their eyes are, you know, what I said, no, it's you're going to kill the whole
No,
emotion.
it's really simple. Her mask gently shifted to the right. I knew what that meant.
It was implied, but it was understood.
Implied, but understood that I'm gonna get lucky. No, I don't know, whatever. I write in first person, so it's got to be I'm gonna get lucky. But third person, he's gonna get lucky tonight. You know, and when you narrate it, you always try and sound like you know, like you're really intelligent. You know, and that's when he knew he was gonna get lucky. Yeah, you know, whatever.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt.
It would be beyond a shadow of a doubt. Or you take it the other way, and that's where he knew his luck was running out. Because the shift in the mask was pointed to somebody else's, you know, whatever. But
his chances were gone.
You are done. You have now been deemed insignificant in this scene. Oh, well. That's when you know, that's when that cat would really, you know, dating. I'll be interesting to see how your character dates with that cat, and you know, seeing images. You know,
I actually have because I had so many other characters with these abilities. At the end of this book, they all kind of leave again, so he's left alone with his life in his town. And I have thought about, let me kind of see if I can tell stories with these other guys, because you know, a couple of them are a little bit of eccentric characters.
yeah.
And I kept thinking, you know, I could probably have a lot of fun instead of making it this, supernatural suspense, you know, urban fantasy, you know, drama. You know, I could just play around with it and have okay, you know, I'm going to have characters that are going to be kind of like Psych. You know, he's going to pretend he's psychic to get attention, and people are never going to realize he's actually psychic.
That's kind of funny.
And it'd be like, I could actually play with that. I could work with that, and have these characters kind of like, you know, okay, I'm going to jump in the middle of a, you know, an investigation that the police are doing, and I'm just going to go try to pick up some thoughts in here. Oh, he's the killer. Okay, I'm going to pretend like I have a psychic vision, and oh, he's thinking where he hid the murder weapon. Oh, I know where that's going to be.
You know, I was just kind of thinking it'd be kind of funny. I don't know if you did this or not, but having all your characters sitting around a campfire and, you know, petting their cats, and all of a sudden one turns to the other one, you sick son of a gun, you know, where'd that come from? And then somebody else say, wait a minute, 2 minutes ago, you were thinking, you know, and just having get into this massive argument where, you know, you see the images and it's like, whoa, dude.
That might be okay, but I think the closest I got that was the connections, when they actually did go to a camping trip, and the main character is kind of like there with his friends, and his one friend is like thinking of his girlfriend, and he's like, oh dude, come on, I don't want to be hearing about this. And I was like, what? I didn't say anything. And it's kind of like, yeah, you didn't have to. Just
oh, better yet, if it matches in society, dude, that's my mom.
Oh, yeah, I could actually probably play with that in one of these.
That's my Aunt Betty. Stop it. Oh my God, I can't. Oh, stop. You know. Yeah.
Oh yeah. A lot of ways you can play with it.
Yeah. You know, and then the friend goes, wait a minute, you just had the same thought. You sick son of a, you know, that's incest. Yeah, whatever. See, you could write romance. It's just psychotic romance. Anyway. So what else you got going on?
Pretty much putting the stories together, trying to get things happening, working on the new sci-fi, putting out the videos. I post some of the pictures I take on Instagram, so I put those out every day. Usually before I call it a night, I just pick a picture out and just write something decent, something on there, some last minute positive words to share before I call it a night, and work with videos, work with the graphics I've been putting together, and trying to see what type of promotions out there, with playing around with websites and whatnot as well.
Sure. So you said that you're an admin. I assume that's an IT admin, or what do you?
It's a department specialist working in one of the bigger companies.
Okay.
So just pretty much support everything from quality to configuration.
Ah, okay. Very cool. So you can do all that remote, so you don't have to go into work.
Half the people are not even at work now; they're all working remotely. So,
Oh, geez.
being putting in access requests or setting up meetings or whatnot, that's simple enough to do online. So I can work remotely easily.
So I assume you have these Zoom meetings all the time. I mean, for what I'm doing, it's a necessity. But how do you feel about those, as far as being in the corporate environment and everybody on these Zoom calls, knowing that only half the people are wearing pants and whatever?
I kind of miss the days when you could just call in and just listen while you're doing other stuff. Now it's like you actually have to make sure, okay, I'm right here, I'm facing the camera, everything looks all right. And it's like, okay, you can't see a mess behind me. That's fine. Now it's like you have to be aware as to how you look, and make sure you're all presentable. Whereas before it's like, okay, I can be sitting there in front of my computer doing some work, and I could be listening on my earpiece. And it's just like, okay, I can hear the meeting going on. It's fine. I can get other things done. I could actually even get up and do other stuff. Now it's like everyone is right in front of you. And as soon as you see one person move away, everyone kind of looks over and says, "What are they doing?"
What are they doing over there? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
what's going on
okay.
there? I was on a Zoom call with somebody. There's 5 people on the Zoom call, and the one person that was talking the most, I mean, it was his meeting, sitting there at home, and all of a sudden you hear a door open. "Hey, we're out of milk and bread. When are you going to go get that?" He's like, "I'm on a meeting, honey." "When are you going to be done with your meeting? Because right now we need milk and bread." And the kids are and it was just and she was mad. And it was funny as hell. I muted my microphone. I'm just sitting there just rolling as this guy's getting his ass chewed out on a Zoom call in front of all of his all the people that report to him. And they're all just like yeah, trying to keep a nice stiff lip and everything else. And it was funny as hell. And then she shut the door, and he just cleared his throat and said, "Anyway, back to our task right there." And everybody's just rolling, and he is desperately trying to ignore it. This guy has a reputation about kind of being a hard ass. Yeah, watching him just getting shellacked by his wife was beautiful. And I'm sure he'll be pissed at him. Yeah, he's not listening to this podcast. Oh well. But yeah, I talked to him afterwards, and he was just like, "Jesus, I couldn't believe she wouldn't be quiet." And it's like, "Yeah, I heard." Anyway, here's my contract. But, yeah, I'm just your typical IT dude, so I just do stuff IT wise, websites and junk like that. But yeah, it was
got a lot of buds in IT.
What's that?
I got a lot of buds in IT. So.
Do you? All right. You got one more, pal.
Every time I submit a request or whatnot, and I always have to talk to them. Okay, yeah, this guy wants this, and he wants that set up, and his new system has to have this and that, and okay, we'll take care of you. No worries. We'll let you know when it's ready for pickup.
Usually when I get a support ticket or something like that comes in, I'm usually like, "Have you rebooted yet? Reboot. Call me back." It usually gives me 15-20 minutes, to do whatever it is I'm doing, but whatever. But,
yeah, a few times I've had problems. That's the first thing I do is like, when they say, "Okay, have you rebooted?" It's like, yeah, 5 times. and this thing is still acting up. Please help.
I'm sorry, Alex, but according to the manual, you have to do it 6 times. Call us back when you've done that.
Yeah. Okay, I just finished doing it. Okay, help.
Yeah, liar. Because we can see.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Like, yeah, you have the little option on the bottom. It's like, okay, they can remote into your system, at the push of a button. It's like, okay, all they have to do is just call up your little logs that they keep on there. Yeah, according to this thing, you rebooted twice. What do you mean 4 times?
Yeah.
We only have you listed. It's like, yeah, okay, well, I need some assistance. This thing's not working. Okay, I'll try it again. Oh, look, it's working now. Oh, thanks. You guys are right. Sorry.
Funny story. My nephew was staying with his grandparents, and they're having some computer problems. I just remoted in. I'm just moving the mouse around. I'm clicking things and everything else. And they just finished watching some sort of like Goosebumps or something like that. He was very young. And he looked over at the computer and it's moving around. And he just starts screaming, "Oh my God, it's a ghost!" And he's running around. And my father-in-law called me up, and they're just laughing. I could hear him in the background. I couldn't quite understand what was going on, except for he's screaming about a ghost. And I was trying to figure out if they actually had a ghost, why the hell are they calling me? And, between the laughing, snickering, and basically almost puking because they're laughing so damn hard, they're explaining to me that they think that I need to tell young Isaac that it's me working on the computer. It's not a ghost, just to calm him down. And it was hilarious. But it was he was convinced that the computer is haunted and they needed to get it out of the house, and he needs he's running away. And it was and back then he hadn't seen anything like that before. But the computer's just moving all by itself, and it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, that's one of the fun things when I asked IT for something. Okay, this is the update to Adobe is not working well. Can you give me a hand? And they just kind of remote into the computer, and all of a sudden I just kind of, okay, I just got to sit back and watch the computer. Okay, now the mouse is going here. Now this window's opening up, and now all this data is scrolling. Okay, yeah, here's what happened. The license thing wasn't properly configured. Here you go, and then all of a sudden everything appears. Okay, everything's great. And I keep thinking that if anyone was walking by, they would probably see me just staring at the computer and it's doing all these things. Like, yeah, are you watching a video game? Is this what's going on? Everything just jumping every which way. All these windows are popping up and disappearing.
I have to add a small disclaimer in my story. Okay. I opened up Notepad and I did write in there, "Isaac, I'm coming for you." Just and I'm here for your soul and stuff. I did write a few things on there that may have extended his fear of computers for a while. But I mean, and then I did explain it to him, but it was I may have provoked it a little bit.
Army of darkness, and it's like, well, swallow your soul.
Yeah, something like that. And if he if he hears this, I'm sure he would put that in the comments that it didn't help that you did this, you butthole. But Uncle Butthole, that's who I am. But
like, I'm getting smarter and I'm finding ways to do paybacks. Just you wait.
Yeah. The funniest thing was, and maybe not the funniest thing, but his parents didn't necessarily like guns or anything like that. So I started buying him Nerf guns, and every year for Christmas for probably 8 years in a row, I bought him bigger and bigger Nerf guns to where all of a sudden it's the automatic one that shoots like 15 at a time. And every time we went over to the house, there's freaking Nerf darts stuck someplace. They're all over the fridge. He's got the ones with suction cups, or they're up on top of the cabinets or whatever. And his mom would always, "Yeah, thanks a lot for all this. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, yeah. And here's a bill for all the broken stuff that we've had." No, it was a Christmas present. It was my gift to you. I mean, just yeah, I'm that uncle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least you didn't get him a drum set.
I've done that too. Yep. I think
uncle.
Yeah, I had an uncle that did that same thing, and I actually found a toy that I had when I was a kid, and it was I found it at Toys R Us when they're still open, and it was a chainsaw that when you pulled it, it ran, and when you pulled the trigger, and it just lasted forever. And so I gave a couple of those out, and then
Throw that and a hockey mask, and you're all set.
either that or also Leatherface.
There you go.
Either one works. Either one works. And then I think my favorite gift for 2019 was the Frozen karaoke set. That's something that every child needs, every girl. And then when I started getting this kind of crap back, it's like, what are you guys doing? But anyway, enough about me. What about you, Alex? What do you do for fun?
It's pretty much what I do for work.
Oh.
Sit in front of the computer, come up with stories, come up with ideas, play with the different things that I have in mind, whether it's videos or audio or toying around with different graphics and trying to learn something new in Photoshop and all that kind of stuff. It's aside from that, just when I can, just go take a walk.
So you do all your own book covers?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you do that for other people too, or just yourself?
Just for myself. Yeah.
Just for yourself.
I just when I'm writing a story, every chapter I kind of create a little thumbnail list of what type of things would I want to put for an illustration for this chapter, and usually by the time I get to the end, at least one or two stand out, and I'm thinking this would be really good for the cover. So I try to develop it as much as I can, and if it works out, I just make the cover for it, and that's my graphic for the book itself.
Okay, cool. And you do that all the way through production, or do you hand it off to a graphic artist to finish it up for you?
Nope. So far, it's all me.
It's all you. Oh.
Yeah, once I start doing, I'm hoping I can get more books out in a year instead of just one. If I can do 2 or 3 a year, at that point I may just have to, okay, here's all my graphic ideas. Here's my things, and just hand it off to a graphic artist and say, try and get it to me, within so much time, and I'll see if I can play with it a little bit and make it to whatever customized options I want. But for now, it's all on me.
And if you go to your website, which I'll have a link to it in the show notes, you can see some of this art that Alex creates. And it's just look up Zarate or Zarate Creations, and you'll find it. It's a site on Google, and there's quite a bit of interesting art that you've thrown out there, that you've created, and I think it's kind of interesting. And then also, what's your Instagram?
Alex G. Zarate.
Alex G. Zarate. All right. So, and we'll put links out to that and everything else, but I'm just kind of looking through what you have for your blogs and everything else, and pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. I like that. So with that, you have anything else you want to tell your readers, friends, or whatever?
Same as always. I've got all these books out. Check them out. If you got the Kindle app, and you can do the Kindle Unlimited, the whole first series is out there. You can probably read that for free. It's a lot of fun. I liked writing it. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on it. So, the next book is already out. So when the last one is out, I'll let you know.
All right, cool beans. Well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and call this a close. Thank you very much, Alex, for your time today. This is Jeff with the DIY Writer Podcast, telling you have a great day and keep your chin up, and goodbye.
Please hit the subscribe button. I get a bonus for every subscriber, and I only need 1,506 more to become a full-time paid employee. Help me, please.